debt service process and strategy. We want it to be currency and volatility neutral. In fact, that is an issue. And we want to make sure that the debt is minimal monetization of the debt, because that's what causes trouble. When the debt is all monetized, the growth in money supply, then it ends up pushing up prices and causing currency volatility. So we'll make sure that in the management of that debt, repayments and so forth, the debt is no longer monetized, and therefore we don't expect this debt to pose any risk to the currency. So far, so good. And we'll continue to maintain that tight fiscal stance to complement the tight monetary stance from the central bank. And there's very good coordination between the central bank and treasury. And we have a liquidity management committee, which is co-chaired between the two institutions, that keeps checks of moving the liquidity in the market in a way that is meant to really control the growth of money supply and the possibilities of causing volatility for the currency.
When are we likely to have the debt talks? Because last time I think you had said a month now, the past months that didn't happen.
Yes, no, the debt talks are ongoing. As you know, they happen at two levels. They happen at a technical level. So the committees continue to meet. We've got the economic reform cluster, we have the governance cluster, and then we have the land tenure systems and farmer compensation cluster. Those committees continue to meet, and we get continuous reports. Now, maybe what you're referring to is the high-level meeting itself. We changed the formula somewhat. We thought that what was more urgent was perhaps to have a meeting with the board members of the IMF and the World Bank, and that meeting took place in April, with that joint meeting. And then also at the annual meeting with the African Development Bank, we also have investment promotion is the portfolio committee on budget and finance, which is chaired by Honorable Ncube. So this is a kind of normal interaction meeting between the two parties. So really we're discussing how we can deepen the working relationship and making sure the committee the members are invited to the various workshops that the ministry puts up from time to time, that we're able to deepen the consultation process for various issues, be it the budget itself, the budget strategy paper, and other issues pertaining to budget and finance, that we consult the committee going forward even more. We also spoke about how to even continuously allow the committee members to interact with specific officials within the ministry, those who handle budgets, those who handle revenue services and so forth. But also just to improve the quality of communication between the committee, Parliament, and the Ministry of Finance. I mean, this is normal. The committee should be fully aware as to what the ministry does, how the ministry is organized. Fortunately for us, portfolio chair Chiduo is a former deputy minister here, so he knows almost everybody in the ministry. It's easy for him to interact with anybody, with everybody. So, but that interaction is critical for the success of the budgetary process or the fiscal process of the country. We again are able to give the portfolio committee assurance that we will continue on our stance of a tight fiscal policy, but also tight monetary policy. And from this meeting, the committee will proceed to meet with the governor of the Reserve Bank, again to understand better monetary policy making in that institution, which is under the broader economic institutions, policy institutions. So it's also a familiarization toy in a way, but also needs to deepen the relationship between the two sides and work very well.
The Office of the Auditor General actually misdirected themselves, because within the three pillars of control, those are actually regarded as issues known to management. So I'm not saying that they should not have highlighted them, but they should have highlighted and say government discovered that they were undelivered vehicles. Because I put the number here, they were 167 as at the 9th of June 2023. So we procured 167 vehicles and we had 97 that were undelivered. But we knew them ministry by ministry, and we had already written to those ministries to say, can you make sure that these vehicles are delivered? And as we speak, this number of 97 is now down to about 20 something. But so all we are saying is that we will need to align the work of the Auditor General with that of the centralized internal audit unit, so that they fully understand how the three pillars of control work. I'm sorry to say, and I'm saying that at the moment, the Auditor General is still operating as if we don't have a centralized internal audit unit. But we will align them and say, how do you work together with the Federal Audit Unit to make sure that the reports are delivered speedily, and to make sure that issues that are done and then not reported as if there are newer issues. But there is no need for this excitement about motor vehicles, about people don't know what is happening. We had all the information, and we continue to track and to support both the Office of the Auditor General and as well as the Centralized Internal Audit Unit. Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you. It says that when we introduced the ZIG on the 5th of April, as government, we pronounced that for deposits of $100 US dollars and below, there ought to be no bank charges. I'm happy to report that all banks are complying with that policy announcement. So that's progress. And going forward, we'll make additional policies to make sure that these bank charges can be reasonable. It also points to the fact that maybe there isn't enough competition, I don't know, in the banking sector. Again, we endeavor to see how best to engender that competitive spirit. But at least for the first shot of the $100 and below in terms of deposits, we're making good progress, and all the banks are complying. At least that's the information I have before. And on the Auditor General, if I can pass that on to Guvamatanga.
Yeah. For the oncoming of the Second Republic, because government did not have a centralized internal audit unit, which was then created over the course of the past 4 years, and is now in place and is now operational. The reason why we have created the internal audit unit is to actually create an opportunity for audits to happen throughout the year. So what used to happen is that the Auditor General would do their work throughout the year and then present their reports to Parliament 18 months later. So 18 months later, you are being told that this did not work according to plan, this is not working according to plan. There was no remediation in between. So we have created the Central Audit Unit to cover that gap, to also help in speeding up the process. I think before you came in, I highlighted an example of the work of the Internal Audit Unit to the committee, which is this issue which has been in the social media and got everybody excited to say people are paying money and nothing is being delivered. But I was highlighting to the committee that within the process of the Internal Audit Unit, this was actually known to management, and there are already processes to ensure that those vehicles that were not delivered, and it's not only vehicles for your information. We had motor vehicles, we had information and communication technology equipment, we had office equipment, we had even provisions, right? People who would buy drinks, my biscuits, but are not delivered. I ended up with my biscuits out. We had other things like from other ministries,